Somebody's watching right now. Welcome na, gising mga kapatid. Okay, gising mga kapatid. So, you can also share to your sons and daughters if you can learn a little bit about physics. Also, for example, if they have their assignments, and then they will say, Ma, Pa, please help me, I cannot solve this physics problem. Then you are listening to me and I'm vlogging that, this is Junjun really discussed about this, and I have to help my sons and daughters about this so that they can also have their assignments to be correct, and they have also good scores or whatever, and at least you can help them also. And or in another way around, if you are still students right now, high school, fourth year, or let's say grade 12 or grade 11, I don't know. The equivalent educational system now is K-12, right? It's totally different from our time before. We don't have that K-12 system. Now you can also take down notes and a blank sheet of paper, something like that, so that you can also gain a little bit of knowledge. Okay, a guide to you. No, not really exactly perfect guide, at least a guide to understand well about physics. Okay, but our topic for today is about torque. Well, our topic for today is about torque. Nakakaloka. Okay. Wait mga palangka, I still have to adjust the setting. Okay. I have to adjust the setting mga palangka kumitad. Wow. Diba? Hello! Hello! Sarah! Sarah! Nanalo ka na! Sarah! Sarah! Ate Sarah! Char. Gumano pa ako. Ate Sarah, nalo ka na. Ate Sarah, nalo ka na. Kuya, Bongbong, panalo ka! O, diba? Say special. Okay, going back to our lesson for today. Nakakaloka. Okay. Torque. Torque is equals to force times distance. Okay. Do not be confused if you found a physics book during the introduction of this topic that's gonna be delivering another letters for the distance. So this is not an issue. You can replace that with letter R, small letter R, and although you can change it with small letter L. Okay, to designate only that this is going to be the distance covered of your torque when you try to have a rotational motion. Okay, when you mean of torque, this is always applicable in the rotational motion of a certain work equipment or a certain machine or whatever. For example, a centrifugal motor pump, something like that, in different processes and industries. So there is a torque there. And then it doesn't mean that, Sir Sotero, we need to learn that torque. This is only a guidance for you guys that you have an idea what's going to be the torque all about. So it's going to be force times distance, and the distance can sometimes be R and L. L is also a distance, but in a horizontal distance, something like that. Okay, it's just totally equivalent, something like that. And then the R is not the radius here. Let's make it clear. The R here is not a radius. Okay, mga palangga? Okay, it's gonna be the situation. Okay, now, a torque, guys, is a moment. Wow. What do you mean by moment? Moment of inertia. Like that. How can we understand moment? Moment meaning, say, there is really a rotational motion or movement, like a round motion. Something like that, just like a circle. Junjun is circulating in this floor just like a circle. Myself obtained torque just now. So this is a very clear example of what is a torque. Then, if we put this into a machine, it's going to be a centrifugal pump. Not only limiting to that also, we have also the centrifugal, decantation equipment in the laboratory. Or centrifugation process, right? There's a centrifugal machine to rotate the certain substances, and then it will produce a separation of solid and liquid. Then you have to do the centrifugation process first, and then later you have sedimentation, and then later decantation. Okay, in the laboratory test analysis also in general chemistry laboratory. Okay, so it's gonna be like that. Okay, moment is the term for that. Okay, so it could be moment force. Okay, moment force, something like that. So there's a torque in that. Okay, you got the point. And then, guys, we have the linear force. The linear force is usually applied in the horizontal distances, upward motion, horizontal motion, like that, but not necessarily rotating, revolving. So that is linear force. Now, if that is really circulating, that could either be a centripetal force or a centrifugal force, but generally, they are behaving as a rotational force. Rotational force, meaning it rotates in a 360 degrees or 2 pi equivalent, something like that. You got the point? Okay, what are the two types of forces based on orientation? Your answer will be in examination, enumeration, will be linear force and rotational force. Now, if the question will say also in examination, in the future will say, palangga lesson this, if you're taking physics, if your instructor will say, enumerate the two types of forces based on orientation and direction, you will answer linear force and rotational force. Got a point. It's not the same as saying, what are the four fundamental types of forces? I already discussed that last week or so many times, and I don't have to repeat that one also. Now, if I will say that linear force, what is the applicability of the linear force? It's only there when you move the block to an inclined plane, Jun pulling the block away from him, or forward the block going there, something like that, or Jun drive a car in a forward motion, left to right, but not necessarily rotating. Your brain cells will detect the clear difference because you will create a circular path when you will say that there is a rotational force, a moment force, and a torque, something like that. That's only the evident difference among the two, the linear force and the rotational force. Okay, if there is a rotational force, there is a moment force, and sometimes other references or other sources will just take that as a moment. That would be enough. That would mean referring to a moment force already. Sometimes they drop the term force, they will just use word moment. Okay, but just still the same. As long as it is rotational motion, ganon. Okay, it's gonna be like that. Okay, so this is the torque. So force times the distance. Okay, you get the point. But in here, it was rotating na talaga siya. Okay, you get the point. Now, the clear also difference, aside from the first difference, you remember that already, right? Aside from that also, we have also another difference for that, is that, okay, this torque, we're only referring to the y component vertical in your forces. The y. We'll not consider the x because the x is just only in the plane pa talaga siya. You get the point? Diba? When you start to rotate, this is the pen, right? In my hand. Actual example. This pen is in the 180 degrees, half of the 360 degrees half, meaning 180 degrees, right? It's not yet moving. So this, this is really not rotating pa siya. That's why the Fx component is not considered in our torque. When it go to the top portion, it will rotate halfway, rotate another half, one fourth, one half, whatever. It's turned circular in motion or in path, then that's your torque already. Okay, that's why we don't need to consider the x chuba chuchu in computing to that. Meaning to say, the angle of inclination in the x will not be considered, always in the vertical. Okay? And then we will apply that again, over and over again, algebra, basic math, Pythagoras theorem, the law of right triangle. Okay? You get the point. Always like that. Now, I must illustrate and sketch so that we can easily understand what I'm trying to emphasize now. Okay? So, I need to draw and sketch a schematic diagram. or an illustration. Wow. Ganun talaga, dude? Yes. Charot. Okay. Now, before going further, we need to understand also that our unit of force is simply Newton, the capital N, okay, Newton, and the distance is meter, okay, like that. Guys, if you don't understand my pronunciation, because I'm talking too fast, you can also comment in the comment section. Sir Sotero, please slow a bit because you are too fast. Because this is my weakness, really. When I do the reporting, when I do the discussion, I'm talking too much fast sometimes. This is really my weakness. Okay, so I don't have to be very slow and I try. That's why you hear me right now, right? I'm trying to be slow. Okay, because normally I am very, very spontaneous. Okay, like that. Okay, so we're gonna be having the force is Newton times the meter. Okay. Now, for the examination in the future, if the question will ask, what is the basic unit of force? Fill in the blank question, examination in the future. Your answer will be Newton. Okay? Because sometimes examination varies the instruction. Sometimes fill in the blank. Sometimes true or false. Sometimes multiple choice, which is common in the computerized examination, right? And we have also the listing, the outline, the enumeration, okay? The essay, like that, the showing the relationships, the A and the B, match column A and to the column B, something like that. And also sometimes define, explain, like that, okay? So if you have to define only, you don't have to give examples. But if you have asked to explain, you define and give examples as much as you could so that your points will be higher because it's already explanations. Explanations are not limited to the description, to the definition alone. You have to state all possibilities so that the reader could understand what you are trying to explain, right? Okay, it's gonna be like that. That is for explain. So there's a lot of instructions in the examination, and you must familiarize this so that you can pass really in different examinations in the future. Okay, it doesn't have to choose age in this criteria. You have to notice that most of the times, right? For example, if you're trying to be involved or to engage in an examination for applying for a certain job in a reputable or let's say a very big company, then of course there's an examination. So this type of examinations will always be there. Okay, aside from the the abstract reasoning like that or the psychology test. Always like this all the time. Okay? You get the point. It's gonna be like that. Not only for your classroom instructions examination. Also, because I found out in the college examination, always ask for problem computation and calculation. Only a small portion of essay, theory, in which for me, no, this is only me. Okay? For me, it doesn't really project the better understanding of the students because the students can understand well in concepts, in principles. Because if they understand very well the concept and principles, even though how many times you modified and varied the problem solving, you can easily understand because you know the basic concept for that. Okay? Not necessarily memorizing. You need to understand really what's going on there, something like that. Okay? You will not need to memorize entirely, but you need to understand what's going on with that particular topic. That's why you can have, it's gonna be like this, the formula of density because blah blah blah, so and so. And it's easy for you to memorize if you completely understand. Back up with hint, clues, and indicators to have a memorization faster. Okay, to have your memorization so fast, then you have to put acronyms, especially enumeration. Especially when it deals with sentences, for example, 7 sentences, 5 sentences, you do the acronyms so that you can easily remember, something like that. Okay, that's technique in phasing examination if there's an enumeration. Okay, or outline. The difference between outline and enumeration alone is in an outline, you have to give examples also, because outline is not limited only in listing and enumerating. Okay, for example, what are the different types of physical hazards? Okay, outlined the different physical hazards. it doesn't have you will only right noise, vibration, temperature. You have to give examples and explain what will be happening after receiving the hazards. So okay, the UK, for example, you're taking the English examination. The UK Board of Examiners, that is checked manually. Of course, they will give you more points rather than stating only the types of hazards. You have to explain. Not really explain. You have to give examples like that. Okay? So this is gonna be your technique. Okay? If you're planning to become safety professionals in the future, you try to have a transition from your professional career because OSS is very demanded nowadays all over the world, especially the oil and gas industries. Then you have to do the attack of studying, okay, or style or methodologies of study, right? So many terms to be used. Okay, like that. Okay, going back, that is Newton method. Okay, mga palangga, observe. Hala, so you tell force times distance. It's look familiar to me. What is the quantity that goes also with this formula? Think. I'll give you 60 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Time is up. Okay, the answer will be work. Work is also equal force times distance. Okay? Things like this. But the only difference, work doesn't need to have a rotational motion. So you cannot apply the torque in this manner, though they have the same formula. Okay? Because torque really a rotation. For example, if I will push my table going there, there's no rotation. It will create a circular path. Okay, so that is not a torque, that's only work. What I'm trying to emphasize, we have the same formula. You get the point? It's gonna be like that. Because sometimes also, if the problem is saying, the data are all about torque, and then they will ask for the work, they use this formula of work also. They try to trick you out only. They are not using the word torque. They will just say, what is the work obtained when the blah 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 is rotating? You still have to use this formula. The same thing, because they have the same formula. Di ba common sense? If they have the same formula, it is also follows the applicability. Okay? That's the technique of problem solving really, guys. Because that is really the technique in the board examination or different examination. They are using the term that is not common to everybody, but it has the same meaning and the same formula in which you are not familiar with. You get the point? So that's why I recommend you to memorize different terminologies and processes and formulas. Put that in your notebook. Okay, memorize that daily ala tool so that when you reach second year college, third year college, fourth year college, fifth year college, you are now fully equipped with weapons, okay, to become a legit engineer in the future. Legit meaning a licensed engineer in the future, something like that. Okay, that's only my that's not only my philosophy and ideology of this topic. Okay, ganon. Okay, mahirap pala maging maging instructor because it will, destroy your voice quality, right? Just like your voice will be cracked, something like that. Then you cannot sing properly na talaga. So you have to choose one pala. If you want to become a singer, then don't teach. Am I correct? It depends also. If you really love singing, then because my niece also, who is a public school teacher, she said their voice will change every time because they will keep on talking to the students, and then when we do normally, because we normally do singing during weekends. Our family loves singing. Okay, since we are a very little child, we always sing. Okay, that's why you could expect that we know how to sing, and most of the Filipinos love to sing. Okay, like that. Okay, even in the kali-kali or whatever, in the fishes or whatever, starting from a very young age, we already sing. That's why we are, you know what I mean. Okay, so this the uncle, if you are a teacher, you cannot sing now very well because your voice will change. Just now that my voice is changing, right? Okay, it matters a lot because you cannot hit high notes already. effortlessly if your, vocal larynx or your vocal muscles and tissues will be, will be disturbed by its normal functions. Wow. Tama ba? Normal functions. Nakakaloka. O, diba? Okay. Ganon. Okay, guys, I need to draw na. Anong time na? Chart. Okay. Hello, mga palangga unitad. I know you are natutulog na kayo dyan. Okay. So, it's gonna be like this. I will draw like this, a straight stick. Stick, S-T-I-C-K. Stick can be used as a noun and a verb. You will use that as a noun if it's referring to a stick, a solid that a teacher used when do the discussion. And you can use as a stick in a sentence. For example, the tape stick in the material by using an adhesive tape. Stick there is used as a verb. There's a difference in the utilization in our grammar, English grammar. So be careful the difference between a stick and a stick noun and stick verb. Okay, that's the points. I use the stick here as a noun, meaning an object, a non-living thing, right? It has no life. Okay, this is a stick, right? And I have also here, let's say, if I will try to rotate this stick 360 degrees, I'll be able to have at least, for example, I will cover a distance L here, right? Something. And I have also to project, for example, an angle of inclination of, let us say, a force of 200 newtons, like that, okay? And an angle of inclination, that is, say, from the horizontal, which is 60 degrees, something like that, okay? Ganon. Okay, now, let's agree first. Okay, let's agree first. Okay, now, clockwise. What do you understand by the clockwise rotation in a clock? That's why it's named clockwise, because our reference is a clock. That's why we said clockwise. Okay, so clockwise. Okay, like that. The clockwise normal motion is going down, right? Okay, it's going down. Okay, it's going down, mga palangga kung hitan. Okay, now, it's going down. So what will happen to your moment force if it is going down? Okay, what's happening? So it's gonna be negative, right? Negative. Now, if you are going to be counterclockwise, like this, counterclockwise, ganon, okay, okay, something like that. So counterclockwise and clockwise. Let's analyze this first. Okay, meaning to say, clockwise is going down like that. Since clockwise, we need to counter that. The opposite is called counterclockwise, meaning opposite. It's easy to memorize between counterclockwise and clockwise. Okay, like that. So it's gonna be clockwise here, and then it's gonna be counterclockwise there. Now, here, guys, you need to consider the rotation, not the arrow where it goes, the circular rotation. Okay, take note for this. Where this arrow going for the clockwise, right? It will going to like this, going to the upward motion like that. So it's gonna be positive. Your clockwise will be positive. Okay, your counterclockwise, take note, it will counter. We're going downside, going like this. It will become negative. This alone help you a lot because you will have a wrong answer if you cannot understand the orientation or the direction of your moment force and your weight of your object subject to rotational motion. Diba? Okay, you have to memorize or understand this one. Again, clockwise will go in the downside. So normally it will go up. So when go up, that is positive. Now, counterclockwise, opposite to the clockwise, it will going down. Right? Normally, if it is going down, it will become negative. The orientation, not necessarily the direction, the orientation. the movement or the motion. Okay? Kailangan matong direction yun. Kaya mag-depend na ka sa arrow in your final destination. Here, the motion, the movement. You get the point? Okay. Because for example, if this is your direction, there are a lot of ways where to go that direction. It could be clockwise or counterclockwise. That's why it's not really the direction. It is the motion. Okay? Like that. So, positive clockwise. Okay? And the negative counterclockwise. Okay? Like that. So that we can understand. Okay, ganon. Now, I think if you have strength of materials subject and then engineering mechanics, you can understand this properly, especially when you construct a bridge. There's a lot of forces there involved. Forces that go down, forces that go up, and you have to establish the center of gravity or the centroid, and then you can create these things, free body diagram of your bridge. It depends on the length also of the bridge. Length, because this is moment, you do it for the length. Okay? Get the point. Something like this. I have here, this is our distance L. Okay, this is our force. Okay. Now, hindi siya masud, guys. In fairness, hindi siya masud. I have to adjust my drawing. Diba? Nakakaloka. Okay? Hindi mo masud, hindi ka ko anak. Something like this. O, diba? Now, guys, if your force only is going down, going up, follow the same pattern. Going down, negative. Going up, positive. Okay? Forces only that doesn't rotate. Okay? Like that. Because problem solving also in this topic will also include not rotation. It will be a mix of all forces na talaga siya. Whether linear, whether rotational, it will be involved there. But in the topic of, linear force, exclusive dito siya that linear forces lang. Katong mga normal forces, applied forces, kinetic frictional force, static frictional force, weight force, tension force. Tension have rotational. Okay? Like that. Linear lang siya. But kani siya na topic, a mixture of a linear force and a rotational force. Though the topic is torque. You get the point? So, this is a complete package already between the linear force and the rotational force. Just like buying a product that has a complete packaging or nutritional facts that you are really desired to. For example, this is a healthy product, then I have to buy this. Meaning complete package. Something like that, okay? The nutritional facts are there already. This is a very healthy food, and I have to buy this food. Something. It's just like that also in the torque topic or rotational moment force. Rotational force. Okay? Like that. Masukin siya guys mga palangga. Yes. Okay, now we have the force here. Then gonna chuba-chuchu. Okay. Like this. Okay? Ganon. Okay, this is force. Okay, this is the L. Okay, mga palangga kong hitan. Now, we need to establish an imaginary line to project a law of right triangle of Pythagoras theorem. Ganon. Okay. Now, take note mga palangga. So, you can create here a right triangle. Okay, something like that. Okay, and now this is your R here already. Something like that. Okay. Since your force are going there, this is also the same F here, up to there. We create an imaginary line. So this means this is force also, continuously going down here. Now you will say that the moment of inertia T is equal to the force times R. Or in another way around, this is L, you will also, T is equal to the force times L. It's just the same. But in here, okay, in here, the angle of inclination is with angle. See? With angle yan dyan. May theta. Here, theta. Okay? Anawin mo siya mga palangga. Ganon. Ganon. Diba? Napo kay angle of inclination here. Ganon. So, makaingon dyan kanini kayo na. Okay, sarap. Okay? So, ano na yun? Maka-create kang opposite side. Okay? You got the point? Here. Okay? Maka-create ka mga anak, maka-create ka triangle, no? Ganon. Okay? Ganon siya mga palangga. So, makakreate ka of angle of inclination. Okay? Mana rin ka diri. Unahon pa rin FL, equation 2. Ganon. And equation 1. 2 atong giuna kasi yan naman siya. Okay, nandri-ari. So, makakreate kayo mga force vertical, force horizontal, Fx, and force vertical here. Okay? Ganon. Okay. Since the arrow is directed downward, by common sense, it will rotate clockwise. Okay? So this is already, negative. The rotation here, negative. Kaya siya force. Wala mo siya. Ganon. Rotate. Ganon. So now, your F here is here, right? F. So here, the law of Pythagoras theorem, you will say, di ba you project na right triangle, right? Then you will say, sine theta is equals to Fy over hypotenuse F. So this is hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is a diagonal intersection, this one. If you create now the vectors, X vector and Y vector component of your force F. Something like that. So if you compute the F, we should compute F because it's given in our formula F here. So it's going to be, you do the cross multiplication of algebra. So you will say Fy is equals to F sine theta. Okay, sine theta. Now, like that, so you can solve for the F. Okay? Dito po mga palangga. Ganon. So solve for the F, you will say Fy sine theta. Mga ganon, di ba? Ang hanash. Okay, again. Para masabtan jud nato. Okay. Kung sa ganitong sine theta is the opposite of the angle over the hypotenuse or the diagonal line. Loy, nakakaluka. Ako dyan nagitalikdan. Diba? Thank you so much for watching. Mac who is watching, thank you so much. Girl, pretty Mac who is watching. Hello. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, ganun siya. Okay, review. Sine theta is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse or diagonal line intersection of the right triangle. Now, cosine theta is equal to the base over the hypotenuse or the diagonal intersection line. And then your tangent theta will be the opposite side over the base, meaning the opposite of the angle. That's what it means. Okay? Because when you say opposite, it depends on the reference baya siya. Okay? Your reference will be the angle. Okay? You get the point? Our reference point is the angle. So when you say opposite side. Okay? Ganon. So here, okay, it's very easy. Okay. Just try to memorize and understand. Okay? Like it's gonna be like that. Sine theta is gonna be the opposite side Fy. Right? Fy. Ganon. And then you have the, okay, hypotenuse. Okay. Solve for Fy. It's gonna be F sine theta. Okay. Now, Fy here is the F sine theta, right? You get the point? So substitute here in your original equation. You get the point mga palangga kung hitad. So nanakay F sine theta. Okay, since you are solving for the vertical, for this, and the horizontal. Take note guys, if you have the vertical, you have the horizontal, meaning perpendicular in 90 degrees with the horizontal. That's what we mean of perpendicular. Okay. So, perpendicular siya ang imong vertical. So, if it's perpendicular, that is your Fy. Right? So, Fy horizontal. Now, if you try to solve for the F, you can solve also for the F. But this is the Fy really. Okay? F sine theta na yun. Okay? F sine theta. Ano? Because we're looking for the Fy. We're not looking for the F. Because F is the diagonal. As I told you, perpendicular, right? So perpendicular, you don't need the hypotenuse. You need the vertical component. of this F force with the angle of, let's say, 60 degrees, ganun. And then multiply by your L. So, it will become torque is equals to the force in which kani siya times sine theta times L kani siya yung distance here, L. So, muna siya yung torque. Okay? Here. Now, if you have also another version such like this, okay, this is also another way, but the same story. You can create also an angle of inclination. Okay, now you can say fx here, and if y also. Fx, okay, ganun. Kani siya ba? Na siya fx, nabog kay fy here. Diba? Mo ni mong hypotenuse, something like that. And then naman kay angle, opposite dayon niya. Okay, ganon. So mo sa Japan mong istoryahon ni higay yun na fy gyapon ka mo consider. So you're gonna say, okay, sine theta is equal to, since vertical, so it's gonna be fy gyapon siya during a one. So fy is equal to the hypotenuse, let's say f lang gyapon siya. Okay, then you're gonna say fy is equals to sine theta f. Okay, sine theta f is gonna be your fy here also. Vertical component is gonna be sine theta f. So f sine theta and then times r here. Okay. Okay, ganun siya. Your r will be the distance perpendicular to your vector quantity of your f sine theta, which is the force. And this all will rotate in a rotational motion. So that is torque. Okay? So if you really extract the definition of torque already, it's gonna be like this. But if torque, there's a rotational motion. Yes. You got the point? Ganon. Diba? But actually guys, no, there are problem solving also that doesn't necessarily mean rotate siya, kahit halfway lang siya, pwede pa rin siya under sa rotational. Case to case basis siya sa problem solving. As I told you, Manggod, because they modify the problem, not the usual problem solving sa sample problems in your classroom instruction. Okay? So, it will just push the students to think critically the application, if they really understand or not. Something like that. That's why they modified or they presented the question in another way around, not the same, usually in your classroom instruction. You get the point? And that's the reason why there will be failure and there will be passers. Because if you try to pattern that in classroom instructions discussion only the questions, then all of them will pass. You get the point? Meaning to say, they will vary, they will modify, as long as it will connect the same topic of your classroom instruction. That's why the only way to do that is to understand the basic foundation and to try to solve thousands and thousands of problem solving in which mahurot nimo og solve ang tanang pamaagi. That's why when it will come out in the board examination, I already met this, and then, or else if we did not meet this, then you can create your own formulas and equations, then you have to derive. Okay, by connecting the equations and formulas into one derivation. You need to interpolate if it is necessary. You have to have the ratio and proportion if it is necessary also. Then you try to connect the relationship with the formula, then you can create and substitute and simplify further, and you can create another equation even though that is not discussed in the book. Okay. Right? Ganon. Okay. Any questions so far is of the torque? Any question? Torque. Nakakaloka ang torque. O diba? Nothing, right? Now we will go back. Now, I will give you an example later for this problem solving, ha? So that makasabot siya mga panagakong higtan. Okay? Thank you so much for watching this torque discussion. Concepts first and then button application for the problem solving. Thank you so much. If you like this video, you can share to anybody else who are taking physics subjects in your education curriculum, or if you are a high school student, 4th year physics or grade 11 or grade 12, something like that, so that you can for your assignment as well. Okay, like that. You get the point? Because physics is a pure science. Always have this in your education. Okay? And I think most of the professionals have physics subjects. I think so. Okay? You get the point. And then you can subscribe to this YT channel if you like this video. And then you can also click the notification bell for some news updates of I am a singer, eternal voice. When I say I am a singer, then I space am space, okay, singer, and then slash, slash a short dash, DASS, or a short line, and then after that, I have to say eternal voice. Eternal voice will be one word only, attaching eternal and the voice. One word, eternal voice. Okay, capital E, small letter T's, ERNAL, capital V as in vine, OICE. Meaning to say, that is only one word, but if you start to write the voice, you need to put that capital letter or big letter, so that it will become, I am a singer, eternal voice. Because my YT channel is very difficult to search in YT. And I was very, very stupid also. One of my friends is telling me, Pero, change your YT because the viewers cannot easily watch your videos if your YT name is very difficult to discover in the search. And then I haven't found time also to do that since I am working also like that, okay? So I never changed up to now. I haven't found time because I love really the branding of my profile account because it really speaks to me because I am a singer. Well, I am a singer, an amateur singer. Something like that. So that's why I put that. Since I told you all the time, my first love is singing. Okay? So it's like, I am a singer, eternal voice. What do you mean eternal voice? Meaning, I don't have to limit my voice into one type of voices. I can sing any other type of voices. Okay? Whether it is head tone, falsetto, something like opera style of singing, alto, tenor, soprano, bass, or whatever, I can deliver any type of voices. That's why I used to have the branding of my account, Eternal Voice. Okay, meaning not limited only to one type style of singing. It is multi-dimensional types of singing. Okay, you get the point. And then I can also rap music. I can do also pop music. I can do R&B, something like that, whatever. That's why I need to put eternal voice. Okay? Do not put also that in a literal way, because it is eternal, meaning it is boundless, immeasurable, infinite. That's the definition of eternal, right? In the Webster dictionary. Do not put that in that way. Do not understand that in a literal way. Okay? You get the point? Ganun siya. Okay. Thank you so much, mga palangga ko. Bye-bye. Babush. See you later. Diba? Ganon. Gigutom, di ko